surprised Caitlin Clark make a return. And they got to figure out a way. I know I can't hate to stress this, but they got to figure out a way to finesse away.
Caitlin Clark not coming back tomorrow.
How about Caitlin? Is she going to be ready for
Oh, not for tomorrow, no.
Like Stephanie White has made it clear, Caitlin Clark will not play tomorrow.
You can sense it the moment you step inside the Ascension St. Vincent Center. The balls still thump, sneakers still screech, coaches still shout. But beneath the noise, there's a hitch in the rhythm, the half-beat pause you feel when a symphony star soloist leaves the stage.
You do have to wonder if this is something that has been nagging her. Stephanie White said it was a new injury. There was some question.
She had a minor quad strain in the preseason that was well managed. Now, here's the issue. She was cleared to play just before the start of the season, but then re-aggravated.
For the Indiana Fever and for the WNBA at large, that soloist is Caitlin Clark, and Monday's update from head coach Stephanie White confirmed the worst-kept secret in women's basketball. The superstar is still grounded.
Stephanie White did talk today, gave an update. Clark said Thursday, after being reevaluated over the weekend, she could possibly return for Tuesday's tilt. She would not rush back. The same goes for Sophie Cunningham, who has been limited to just 4 games this season due to an ankle injury. White said that Cunningham was also limited in Monday's practice.
White's words were measured, but the meaning was blunt. Caitlin hasn't cleared the final boxes. She'll watch Tuesday in street clothes, and we'll build from there. We're playing the long game. The long game. 2 deceptively simple words now hanging over the league's fastest-growing franchise and over the biggest growth surge the WNBA has ever seen. The press conference gasp heard round the league. Reporters expected optimism. Clark had, after all, spent the weekend jogging gingerly through shooting drills, laughing with teammates and feeding bounce passes to rehabbing wing Sophie Cunningham.
Stephanie White said Monday, Clark is, quote, ready to start ramping back up and has been allowed to participate in some, but not all of practice. Quote, we're going to be smart, we're going to be cautious, and we're going to play the long game and work her back in very intentionally. Both of them being out for long periods of time, you've got to work your way back in to being game ready. Fever schedule. Tomorrow night, Dream not coming back.
The unofficial chatter said maybe Tuesday, a Saturday. White's statement turned that hopeful timeline to dust. A dozen phones darted upward to capture the quote. Spreadsheets at ESPN's assignment desk lit up red. Scalpers near State Farm Arena slashed resale prices faster than you can say quad strain.
Caitlin Clark's status for the game today, or game tomorrow, is official. Her status is official. And it is, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all, because at the end of the day, Caitlin being healthy in September means more than Caitlin being healthy in June.
Only Clark's load came instantly, not gradually. The league has never had more to lose by a single strained muscle fiber. Quad strains 101. Why, it's just a thigh can torpedo a season. To the casual fan, quad strain sounds benign, even quaint. It's not. The quadriceps are the pistons of jumping, decelerating, and, critically, changing direction. A grade. One tweak might feel like a Charlie horse and heal with ice. A grade. 2 partial tear hides in the fascia, aching only when an athlete goes from 70% to 95% speed. That deceptive moment is where re-injury lurks. A defender bumps a drive. Clark plans to step back beyond the arc. Pop. The micro-tear widens. Scar tissue forms. Now you're talking 6 weeks, not 1, and a hitch in the kinetic chain that can ripple upward to the hip flexor and downward to the knee.
Fever put out the report, the status update for the first preseason game against the Washington Mystics, and Caitlin Clark, the only player on it, listed as questionable with a left leg injury.
Well, it looks like a reactivation of the initial injury she had in preseason, which was also minor. So 2 weeks is the right time frame to really shut her down, let it rest, control the potential swelling that can develop in the thigh.
The Fever medical team didn't need to watch the replay of Kevin Durant's infamous 2019 calf to Achilles implosion to understand that lesson. They see it every year in less publicized cases. One rushed return spirals into a season lost. Hence, White's mantra: progression, patterning, rhythm. In plain English, drills Monday, controlled contact Wednesday, limited scrimmage Friday, then only if the quad feels the same Saturday morning do you add live minutes. Miss one checkpoint? Reset the clock. The dominoes, how one strain rearranges an entire roster. The Aaliyah Boston conundrum. Without Clark's gravity warping defenses, Aaliyah Boston now faces ice bath evenings she thought she'd left at South Carolina. Double teams come early, help defenders stunt late, and the skip pass to the weak side corner often lands in hesitant hands. Boston's efficiency has remained near 58%, miraculous under the circumstances, but her touches have nearly doubled, and the bruises add up. Kelsey Mitchell, Alpha version 2.0. Analysts spent the winter asking whether 29-year-old Kelsey Mitchell could dial back her volume to complement Clark's generational playmaking. Now she must dial it right back up, while simultaneously acting as glue guard, secondary facilitator, and calming veteran voice. Her usage rate has spiked from 23% to 31% in the 3 Clark-less games, yet somehow her turnover percentage has dropped. It's impressive, possibly unsustainable, and the fatigue shows late in fourth quarters. The Ari McDonald puzzle. Enter hardship signee Ari McDonald, 5'6" of caffeinated havoc. She's beyond a revelation, she's a roster dilemma. The CBA says the minute Clark or Cunningham returns, a hardship player must go. But McDonald's two-way ferocity, 9 points for 0.1 assists, for 0.8 deflections per 24 minutes, has triggered whispers inside Indiana's front office. Can you really wave the spark plug that just flipped a 27-point rout in Chicago?
The Indiana Fever have just about, they've kept the flow. Like, even if they lose their next 2 games, they might lose even with her.
We've got to work both Clark and Sophie back in. Are they in basketball condition? What does it mean to go live? It's one thing to do some shooting drills. It's another thing to go out on the floor, get back into movement, patterns, rhythm, timing. We're picking and choosing the things that can be in practice so we can see their progress.
Well, it looks like a reactivation of the initial injury she had in preseason, which was also minor. So 2 weeks is the right time frame to really shut her down, let it rest, control the potential swelling that can develop in the thigh.
Someone is going to feel the axe. Rookie wing Celeste Taylor. End of bench forward Nalissa Smith. Or McDonald herself. Every extra game Clark misses turns that decision from academic to existential. The financial ledger. Cold numbers, hot panic. Ticket markets. Pre-injury. Lowest get-in price for Fever at Dream. $174. Post-announcement. $9 within 3 hours. Then plateaued at $5. Television viewership. 6 national Clark broadcasts this year average 1.18 million audience. Fever games without her slumped to 392K, still healthy by historical WNBA standards, but a 67% cliff dive networks do not ignore in ad rate renegotiations. Merchandise velocity. Fanatics internal data leaked via Sportico show Clark jersey orders slowing from 1 every 42 seconds on release day to 1 every 6 minutes during her absence. Still elite, but trending wrong.
Clark is the driving force behind the interest in the Fever and the interest in the WNBA at large.
She's not coming back. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on this, but I wanted to touch on it. After facing the Atlanta Dream on Tuesday, the Fever won't play again until Saturday when they host the Liberty, giving the team ample practice time to see whether Clark and Cunningham are inching closer to their returns.
Every NBA or NFL marketing exec knows this pattern. A superstar sells hope. Hope sells tickets before the ball is even tipped. Remove hope? You remove the casual wallet, the broadcast angle, how ESPN, ABC, and Prime are rewriting rundowns. Tuesday's Dream Fever matchup had been penciled as a Clark versus Howard 2. ESPN production trucks were loaded with pre-cut highlight packages, split-screen graphics, mic-up segments. Overnight, producers swapped in a next man up narrative, bumped the game to the B block, and elevated a previously modest Aces Storm replay to center stage. It sounds trivial until you track contractual make-goods. Networks had promised sponsors a Clark broadcast, missing deliveries trigger rebate clauses. Word inside Bristol is ABC has already requested the league front-load Clark-heavy dates into July and August flex windows once she returns. That's power quantified. League optics, protecting the golden goose without saying golden goose. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert walks a PR tightrope, emphasize athlete health without appearing to give Clark special treatment. Inside league headquarters, memos have gone out instructing media partners to champion depth of talent, while simultaneously granting extra access to Clark's rehab progress, behind-the-scenes footage, and exclusive Mike Ed moments once she's cleared. Meanwhile, officiating supervisors quietly issued a mid-season video package to referees titled Verticality and Freedom of Movement, Perimeter Initiators. It highlights, not coincidentally, every borderline hit Clark has absorbed this year. Officials are reminded that continued illegal displacement away from the ball becomes an automatic advance flagrant consideration. That's corporate speak for blow the whistle sooner. They won't admit it publicly, but the tape exists. Fan psychology. Hope deferred, not destroyed. Indiana diehards have pivoted impressively. Homemade Get Well 22 shirts to the lower bowl. Live tweets of rehab updates outperform GIF highlights most nights. But casual fans, the ones who push television numbers past 2 million, are fickler. They sample. They disappear. The challenge for Fever Marketing VP and Myers is to transform Clark's absence into narrative investment, not apathy. You'll notice the franchise now posts daily rehab reels on TikTok, quick cuts of Clark icing, laughing, feeding bounce passes. They average 240K views each, triple the number on standard practice clips. That matters because algorithm momentum almost always dictates whether the casual scroller returns when the star does. The locker room view. Players talk. Cameras don't catch it. Veteran forward Erica Wheeler quietly told beat reporters off camera, "We all want her back, but I'd rather have her banging threes in August than limping in June." The sentiment echoes around the room. They see how Clark obsesses over film even in sweats. They know a rushed comeback could sabotage more than one season. At the same time, there's pride. Boston told an Indianapolis radio host, "We're not a one-woman show. We'd love our conductor back, but the orchestra still plays." Last week's 27-point shellacking of Chicago without Clark gives that bravado legitimacy. Another win, or two, would buy the medical staff breathing room. The league-wide ripple. Other stars seize the spotlight briefly. Clark's absence has opened narrative oxygen for talents who'd been overshadowed. Nafisa Collier dropped back-to-back 28-point games. Sabrina Ionescu nailed a Logo 3 walk-off and dominated SportsCenter on a night that should have featured Clark. Angel Reese recorded a 20-20 performance and mercifully kept post-game controversies to zero. The league hopes fans sample these storylines and stick around. But history says casual viewers gravitate back to star gravity. If Clark returns strong, those newly curious eyes might stay. If her recovery drags, the risk of disengagement looms. Big picture stakes, expansion, charter flights, Olympic cycle. Remember, owners approved full-season charter travel largely because Clark's presence unlocked new sponsor dollars. Delta's 3-year deal is pegged to average national ratings. A prolonged Clark absence could complicate year 2 escalators. Likewise, the league's Bay Area Expansion Club is counting on Clark-centric road games to establish season ticket momentum in 2026. Television rights renegotiations set to begin informal talks this fall, heavily reference 2024 to 25 audience data. Clark's health is the lever behind each bullet point. And don't forget USA basketball. The Olympic 3x3 roster for Paris still has one open slot. If Clark comes back firing, she slides into that role, boosting NBC's primetime coverage. If the quad nags, USA basketball likely pivots to a defensive specialist. That's millions of eyeballs swung either direction. The culture war subtext, a league growing up in real time. A generation of WNBA veterans built the foundation Clark's fame now amplifies. Some appreciate that symbiosis. Others bristle at the glare. Injuries, unfortunately, pour gasoline on those tensions. You can already find think pieces arguing Clark's strain is karma for oversaturation, countered by essays calling for more Clark to justify investment. The truth sits in the middle. Marketing needs sizzle, but infrastructure needs depth. Clark's quad strain is forcing the league to accelerate long-planned initiatives, load management policies, officiating consistency, sports science staffing, 5 years earlier than budgeted. Growing pains, literally and figuratively. What comes next? 3 possible narratives. Heroes return. Clark debuts Wednesday in Mohegan, drops 22-8-8 on 60% shooting, Fever split a tough road swing, and the ratings surge erase 2 weeks of hand-wringing. Slow burn redemption. She waits until Phoenix, plays 18 minutes, looks rusty, but health holds. Fever tread water around .500, then sprint post-All-Star break into a top 4 seed. Setback spiral. Quad tightens again in practice. She sits another fortnight, national interest cools, Indiana falls to 6-14, and every bounce pass sparks what if? Columns. The league doesn't collapse, but the off-season calculus becomes much harder. Fever officials insist scenario 3 is remote. Their medical metrics, blood flow ultrasound, isokinetic torque symmetry, say healing is on schedule. But soft tissue doesn't obey spreadsheets. What you, the fan, can actually do, show up. Even without Clark, bodies and seats send ownership the strongest, we believe, message. Amplify the newcomers. Retweet a McDonald's steal, a Boston up and under. Keep the highlight pipeline flowing so casual timelines don't go dark. Advocate, don't attack. Calling for better officiating and sports science funding is fair. Harassing rival players online over hard fouls is counterproductive, and Clark herself hates it. Hold the league accountable politely. Ask for transparent injury reports, consistent whistle reviews, and clear load management guidelines. Pressure, tempered with respect, drives policy faster than venom. Final buzzer. Caitlin Clark is out again, and the short-term sting is undeniable. Revenue dips, algorithms cool, and rival fan bases gloat. But Indiana's decision to slow-cook her comeback might be the wisest move any franchise has made since the league's inception. They're not forfeiting June. They're investing in July, August, and a decade beyond. In sports, the difference between legend and cautionary tale is often one mismanaged tendon or one hurried return. By refusing to gamble, the Fever are banking on a full-strength Clark, whose next no-look dime will once again flood arenas and crash streaming servers in the best possible way. So tape your jerseys back up on the wall, keep your notifications on, and type CC 100% in the comments if you're staying patient. Because when the quad quiets, the crowd will roar louder than ever, and you'll want front row proof that you never wavered. Stay locked. The next seismic clap of that Wilson ball against Gainbridge hardwood is coming, sooner than the cynics think.
Let me show you an example of why Caitlin Clark fans are claiming that the WNBA not stepping in to protect their cash cow, the WNBA not stepping in to protect their only draw, their only star, could have led to this injury.
Right, she's itching to get back. This is a young lady who hasn't missed a game in 8 years, going back to her high school career. So she's not used to being in this position where she has to watch her teammates play while she's on the sidelines, on the bench. Now, based on all your expertise and quad injuries that you've witnessed over the years, what is the timeline for her to recover from this injury?
Most refs aren't going to blow the whistle in that situation. And I understand the frustration that I think comes the most with officiating is the inconsistencies of officiating.